Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? D-Row here, the whole lot of nothing. Doing part 3 of the divisional, MLB divisional breakdown. I've already done the AL/NL East, AL/NL Central. Today we're doing the AL/NL West. Okay, so good job. I was planning on doing this morning, get this up as early as possible, but never set my alarm early, so only had my work alarm go off this morning. So there was no time, but doing it now, so we're going to bust it out real quick. So now, everything starts tomorrow, so let's just break down some teams, see if there's anyone of value, DFS, season-long fantasy, if you guys are looking to bet, division winners, stuff like that. We're going to jump right in here. We're going to start with the AL West. I think I've done the AL first. The first two parts, so we're going to stick with it. Looking right now, so the team that's going to finish last in the division. Tough, very tough call. It's a pretty even division. Probably going to... could be a bit of a curveball. I'm going to take the A's. I think they're going to win about 80 games. They're not going to have the year they did last year. If you look historically over the last, 10 years, 15 years, every time the A's have a really good year, make a run for the playoffs, or, push where they're competing, the next year they never have a good bounce back year. They never repeat a good performance. It's usually another year or two before they can get the right pieces back together to make another push. So their rotation pretty similar to last year, like near the end. Mike Fiers, Brett Anderson, Daniel Mengden, Marco Estrada. They're all middle of the road pitchers. They all had pretty good years last year, which obviously, helped propel them into the playoffs last year. So, do they repeat? Do they all have years like they did last year? I don't think they do. These guys, Brett Anderson's been around. Marco Estrada has been around. These guys, historically, they're the majority of these guys on other teams are all 3 to 5, starters. There's no real ace here. I think Mike Fiers is starting. I guess they already had their opening day, so it's a little different, but, not a very strong staff. I like their closer. I like Blake Trinan. He had a great year last year. I think he's got a lot of talent. I'm very confident with him. Closers are, at least top elite closers, as you guys already know, doing your drafts, stuff like that. Not really, DFS, you don't really look at closers unless you're, taking a real gamble, trying to just, open other people take, bum starters that, implode. But, that's not really relevant. But, all middle of the road pitch, they're going to have a down year. Lineup, looking at Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman's great. Probably the best player on their team. Most exciting hitter to watch. Had a really good year last year. Real solid third baseman. Stephen Piscotty, was okay. Chris Davis, I think he's hit in 240 or something like that, the last 3 seasons. The exact same average every year, so he's extremely consistent. He provides some good power. Good overall player. Marcus Semien, okay. Nick Hundley behind the plate, not bad. Not the worst. They have Matt Olson. He's out until May, though, unfortunately. So he'll end up starting the season on the DL, which, when he comes back, there'll be an immediate improvement. I think Chad Pinder is slated to fill in for him right now at first, which Pinder's okay. He played pretty well the first 2 games over in Japan. But overall, no more than 80 wins for this team. Just don't have... There's no way they repeat what they did last year. There's just no way. Historically, they don't do it. I don't see them, breaking the streak this year. Finishing after the A's, finished 4th in the division. I'm going to take the... Yeah, sure, I'm taking the Rangers. Similar reasons, their pitching staff just isn't that, it's not a very good staff. You know, Edison Bulk has had some decent years in the past. I'm not counting on him at all. Lance Lynn, guy's been around. You know, he's, at this point, I'd say, he's a good 4. Mike Minor, 4-5. Drew Smiley, erratic lefty, but when he's on, he is really, really filthy. He's got a great curve. But, you know, I mean, he's extremely erratic. So, you know, you really can't, you know, it's more of a rotation, you know. We'll wait and see. We'll see what they are when when the season begins. Could be, could have good year, could be really, really hit and miss. I'm going more on the miss side. Just not a lot of promise there. Their lineup, it's a similar lineup to like last year and everything. Shin-Soo Choo, guy, good leadoff hitter. I like Choo a lot. He's good. Daily fantasy, year-long fantasy. Brunette Odor, same thing. Elvis Andrews, guy's still playing. It's unbelievable. Nomar Mazara, Joey Gallo in the outfield. I think Gallo's dealing with a slight groin injury right now. He should be fine for opening day. That's not really a concern. Gallo, though, big boomer bust hitter. He's strictly a power hitter. He's not looking to walk up there. He's looking at the ball out of the park every single at-bat. So for fantasy-wise, the power and all those numbers are great, but he's going to probably kill you in batting average. But obviously, if you're taking him for the power anyway. But just for daily fantasy, purposes, definitely, keep an eye on him. Don't, it's got to be a really good pitching matchup for him, for me at least, to play him, just because, I'm not taking a guy that's going to go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts or 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in a single. And because he'll probably be, I would assume, pretty decently priced, because he hit a ton of homers last year, and I don't remember what his price was going for last year. I haven't even looked at DraftKings prices yet. I'm gonna do that later on tonight, and hopefully have something up for you guys in the morning for the early slate of games. Also, some daily fantasy picks. How I think some of the early games are gonna shake off. Who I think the best pitching matchup is. Stuff like that. Just real general stuff, so you guys have an idea of what's going on. Delino DeShields in center field, nice talent. Dribble Cabrera, I like him a lot. He was playing with the Mets, last year and the last couple of years. Real solid defensively. Can still hit real well. He's showing signs of slowing down. So this could be one of his last few stops with the Rangers here. Hope he has a good season, but definitely showing some signs of age and slowing down, but still overall good player. Not probably someone I'm going to want in year-long fantasy, but definitely someone I'm going to keep a track of daily fantasy, just to see what his, he's another streaky guy. When he's hot, he's hot. When he's cold, he is as cold gets. So really, daily fantasy is going to be a pitching matchup type of thing for me. I don't expect him to be very expensive at all throughout the year, unless he's on like an 18-game hitting streak where he's just tearing the cover of the ball. But that's in the that's down the line. That's not starting out right now. So he's a guy I'm just gonna watch. He's probably gonna hit around 240 for you, maybe a little more, 260. Probably have you about 13 home runs, 60-something RBIs, something around there. Which, it's not, not bad, but it's not a season 1 guy you want to have. It's a good backup, spot start guy here and there, but that's as far as that goes. But overall wins, what I say, the A's around 80. Rangers, and probably have 80 to 85, somewhere in there. It's going to be, those two teams will be tight near the bottom. Honestly, most of this division will be pretty tight now that I'm looking at it. Coming in next, I'm probably going to take the... Yeah, I'm gonna take the Angels. I was gonna take the Mariners, but I just, as good as the Angels are offensively, or are on paper anyway. I mean, you got Mike Trout. That's pretty much all you really gotta say. Best player in baseball, obviously. Just got a massive extension, which he definitely deserved. The guy's unbelievable. I mean, defensively, he does everything for the team that you could possibly ask for and more. Hits for power, has tons of speed, contact. I mean, he's a 5-tool player if you've ever seen one. I mean, he's he's first ballot Hall of Famer by far when he's eventually done, but he's got tons of time to go. Him, Trout, Justin Bour, the guy from Miami, love that signing. Solid defensive first baseman, but he, he's gonna give, it's more of an opportunity for Pujols to DH more regularly, and him and Bour will obviously rotate at times when someone needs a rest. But, frees up Pujols just to focus on, the plate and his at-bats. It also gives Pujols some coverage, depending on, how they're going to bat him in the lineup and stuff. But, I mean, looking at the top 4 or 5, Zach Cozart, Mike Trout, Justin Upton, Justin Bour, Albert Pujols. I mean, that's pretty damn good. Cole Calhoun, Andrelton Simmons, not bad pieces behind them. The only issue is their starting rotation, like it always comes down to. And it is what it is. That's basically what baseball comes down to. Every team has guys that can put the bat on the ball. It's, do they have guys that can get people out? Either they have a strong starter, strong starting 5, or they have a super weak bullpen. But yeah, they're just like the Red Sox, great starting 5. It's they're really piss poor bullpen. There's nothing. That's how it is. They're going to outscore a ton of teams and just hope their starters can go deep. That's the plan there. I mean, some of these guys like Tyler Skaggs, Andrew Heaney, both those guys, by the way, going to be out for a little bit. Probably not too long, but Skaggs got left forearm fatigue, and Heaney has left elbow inflammation. They'll probably be good to go, next week. But they both had nice years last year. We'll see what they do this year. Matt Harvey, I have no expectations out of Matt Harvey. Saw him pitch with the Mets for years. Good early. He's gotten lazy, unmotivated. And honestly, his stuff just isn't very good anymore. We'll see if he can revitalize his career out there, but I have very low expectations for Harvey. I would not roster him. I would not touch him until we see at least 2 months worth of production. Obviously, we don't want to wait 2 months, jump on him early if he starts well, but zero faith in what Harvey's going to do this year. I think he's going to have a really down year. And the closer, Cody Allen, like Cody Allen a lot. I think he was with the Indians for a while. If I'm recalling properly, really good stuff. Real solid closer. So they're strong there. Just you wish you'd have a little stronger starting 5. But their offense is pretty solid. Just as their starting 5 with some of these other teams, this division's tough. Having to go play the Astros. The Mariners are going to be able to hit. Rangers at times are going to be able to hit. It's going to be a tough battle. Angels, though, probably, it's probably pretty high compared to most, if you look around books for future bets and stuff like that, but I'd probably say 88 wins, because I think the last 2 in the division are going over 90. Yeah, 88 wins for the Angels. They're having a real nice year, but, especially with the strength of the rest of the American League, they're going to miss the playoffs for sure. Unless some of the other teams falter and I'm wrong. But that's what I got for the Angels right now. They'll have a fine season. Trout's going to kill it. He's obviously the favorite, already going in as the MVP candidate. So, I think the addition of Justin Bour is going to help both Trout and Pujols. Moving on. Going to take the Mariners, finish second in the division. They lost James Paxton. He went to, he's a Yankee now. Bullpen, not the bullpen. The starters are, they're not bad. Like Marco Gonzalez, UC Kikuchi. Kikuchi pitched pretty well in that second game over in Japan. Obviously, both those games were extremely high scoring. So we're gonna have to watch to see if that was just like that was like a. If that's going to be the norm or what. But Mike Leake, Wade LeBlanc had a nice year last year. Felix Hernandez, Obviously, in aging, he's not what he was, but I mean, you're telling me he's going to be the number 4 or 5 starter here. I'll definitely like my odds with that. He didn't have that, for what he used to be, he's not what he was. But I mean, he'll get you 10 wins, no problem. With this lineup, they'll give him enough support where he should have a pretty nice season. Talking about the lineup, D. Gordon had a horrendous year last year, really did. Hoping for a big bounce back year from D. Gordon. He's going to get you 40, 45 steals for the season. I mean, he's freakishly fast. Once he gets on first, I mean, it's a guarantee he's going. It's just, does he make it or not? 9 times out of 10, he will. Mitch Hagger, Jay Bruce, see what Bruce can do here. I mean, ballpark, it's a better hitter's ballpark than it was, with the Mets. So, he should be able to put up some better numbers. Edwin Encarnacion, guy's ancient, but is getting a chance here. See if he can bounce back. I know last year it was with the Rangers. He was pretty horrible. The Rangers, the Indians. I think it was the Indians. I'm pretty sure. Now I'm thinking, but no, it was a pretty bad season for him. So I guess Mariners are trying to strike lightning in the bottle here with him. Ryan Healy, is not bad. They do have Malik Smith. He'll end up, he's going to be playing center when he comes back, but he's out right now. I forget what's wrong with him, but I mean, another speedy guy that they're probably going to have, either near the top or at the very bottom of the order. They're going to have him and D. Gordon running all over the place when they get on base, and it should be exciting to watch out of them. I think the Mariners are going to have another really good season. It's just, are they going to fold like they did last year, or are they going to hold on? This year, I think they're going to do more of they're going to hold on a little more. I think they're going to end up with around, 91, 92 wins. Like, I think this division is going to be very tight. It's a very strong division. The weaker teams of last year, like the Angels and, the Rangers, they're, at least on paper and some of the moves they've made, they've definitely improved. It's just, 92 wins for the Mariners. I don't see anybody even really challenging the Astros. I think the Astros are going to have about 110 wins, 112 wins, just because they're so freakishly good. I mean, just looking at this team right here, the rotation, Verlander, Garrett Cole, Wade Miley, Colin McHugh, Brad Peacock has had a stellar spring. He's making the rotation. He's going to be the number 5. Robert Osuna, closer. I mean, this team, pitching staff is loaded. They all had insane years last year. That's all people were talking about. How guys come to Houston, all of a sudden they're pitching almost like a full point better ERA down there. So they're doing great things with their staff. I mean, Verlander still, top 4 pitchers in the league, I'd say. Garrett Cole, top 10, no question. And their lineup, I mean, come on. He's giving me George Springer, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa. They added Michael Brantley. So have Yuri Gurriel, Josh Reddick. I mean, come on. These guys are still so young, all of them, and they've already been up here. This is their third year altogether coming up. And, I mean, Correa had a down year last year. Altuve had a nice year. Springer, more of a down year than he did the year before, but was still fantastic. Adding Brantley to this, this is one of the best lineups in baseball. It's right up there with the Yankees and the Red Sox. It's extremely dominant, and they're going to make a big run again this year, like they have. I mean, they're going to be around for a while. Any of these guys, Altuve, Correa, fucking Springer, Bregman, they all have a chance, to go for that batting title. They could all basically do everything, and they've shown that over their young early careers already. So I mean, it's pretty scary. They're like I said, 105 to 110, I'd say, in the win category. They're going to have some impressive runs this season. I mean, their rotation overall, I think, is going to pitch. If you average it out, around 3.5. I mean, that's, as a staff, in my opinion, that's pretty low, especially where baseball is now, where there's just so much hitting. And, that's why they're talking about moving the mound up a little bit. like they used to do back in, what was it, the 60s and 70s, just to make it more of a competitive game. Just because the offense is killing it. But I think Houston is going to absolutely just destroy, the division, and, I mean, basically anyone in their path. I mean, they open up with the Rays tomorrow. I mean, me as a Ray fan, I have no faith that the Rays have any chance of winning tomorrow. I don't care. We have Snell on the mound. He'll probably do fine. He'll let up maybe 3, but, the Rays are not touching Verlander. No chance. All right, so that concludes the AL West. Going real quick again. Top to bottom, Astros, Mariners, Angels, Rangers, and A's. That's how I see it going down. Real quick, we'll do the NL West, and then I'm going to get this up right away to you guys. Worst, another pretty low division, honestly, but worst, I'm going to have to say the Giants. Honestly, this is basically the same shell of a team that they've had for, since they were making the World Series runs. Honestly, Joe Panic, he's been there. Buster Posey, probably the best catcher in baseball. The guy, top 2, him and probably Gary Sanchez are the top 2 you're looking for fantasy-wise. Brandon Belt, Evan Longoria, big Longoria guy, but he's shot. Belt's pretty shot. Brandon Crawford, that guy's been playing shortstop since they were last in the World Series, probably even longer than that. There's nothing to like here. Honestly, Posey's going to be one of the most expensive guys in DFS all season long. But no one else here in their lineup is going to be worth much. You're not really going to want to roster much. Maybe some of their, the pitching. We'll look at Jeff Samardzija, get him in later rounds, like much later rounds in season long. Since he got the big money from there, he has been about 50-50, whether he's have a good start, bad start. I'd probably even say 40-60, leaning towards a bad start. Cueto, he's down the rest of the year. You have to, Tommy John? Yeah, rehabbing Tommy John. He had in August, so he's going to be done rehabbing all year. Bumgarner, we'll see if he returns to form. Last year he had a lot of shaky starts. I think he was injured to start the season even, or somewhere in the middle. We'll see what he can do. We'll see what he has left. He's been there. He's been their ace. He was touched up pretty good last year. We'll see if he can return to that dominant form. Similar to like a Clayton Kershaw. These two guys were running baseball, like completely dominating baseball for years, and now both of them dealing with injuries, and just they don't have the same lights out stuff that they did. It comes with age and comes with wear and tear. It's completely normal and natural. But unfortunately for the Giants, their closer Will Smith, he's shaky. I'd watch him. Obviously, you're gonna want him, but he lets up a couple. He blows a couple saves. They'll make a switch there because they know they're not making a big run, so they're gonna try and experiment with some of their youth. And if they do that, I would applaud that. As the Giants, capping them at 70. 65 to 70 wins. They're going to have a really, really rough year. All right, so the Giants. Now we're going to go to we're going to the Diamondbacks. Most of their starting rotation is the same. Greinke, Robbie Ray, Zach Godley. Those are your top 3. Greinke, he's basically the reason why Goldschmidt's no longer here, because he was given a massive contract, still owed a ton of money, and the Diamondbacks are a small market team that can't always afford it, so they had to get rid of one of their stars, and they got a couple it is what it is. It's the economics of baseball. It happens with everything. It happens with the A's, happens with the Rays, all these small market teams. It's unfortunate, but it's just like life. It's the way it is. But those top 3, expect another solid season out of them. They're fine. There's nothing to complain about them. You don't want to roster them. Greg Holland was announced the closer for them. A lot of people thought going into the years would be Archie Bradley. I would definitely hold on to Bradley. I feel like they're going to have a similar thing to the Twins, where situational wise, who's got the hot hand type of thing. Especially if Holland falters at all, they'll slide Archie Bradley in there with no problem. He's consistent. He's been there, for a minute, so they know what they have in him. their lineup. Steven Souza Jr. just he's out for the year. Just happened. I think I got the update this morning. Actually, he was crossing home plate and his left knee basically exploded as he touched the plate. So yeah, serious big ligament damage. He's gonna be done for the year. We'll not see him. It's sad. He was gonna have a lot of. He was gonna get a ton of playing time down here. He's gonna have a lot of responsibility and a lot of people dependent on him. But unfortunately, now it seems Adam Jones to be sliding in for him and taking over the everyday right field spot. Which good for Jones. Glad to see him. He's going to be out there. I think he's still good enough to be starting the league, in my opinion. So glad you get the opportunity. Who else we got? We got Keto Marte. He's not bad. He's all right. He's fine. David Peralta offers you a little bit of pop. Jake Lamb, Nick Ahmed. These are cheaper guys for DFS that wait and see what they do. How this lineup gels together. I mean, you got the addition of Wilmer Flores. I hope they're not planning on playing him every day at second base, because with the Mets, he's not a good infielder. He's not a good fielder in general. Like, he made the plays, got a horribly inaccurate arm. He's more of a he's going to hurt you more often than he's going to help you. He crushes left-handed pitching, which he'll definitely be in the game for that. But I think they're going to need someone else up there. Definitely like a utility player. They need to have I'm sure they do. I haven't looked too deep into it. A utility player definitely takes some weight off his shoulders, because that's real shaky looking for me. Overall, D-backs, no more than 83 wins. I'd probably say about 80. I just don't know what this offense is. I have no idea. Besides their first three starters, if anything happens to any of them, they're completely shot. There's nothing else to talk about there. Okay, so finishing third in the division. Pretty much what I do, guys, I just base everything off of what they're... I look at their starting rotation more than I do their lineup initially. Just because, pitching's everything. That's the name of the game. All right, I'm going to go with the Padres. I was going to give them finish in second, but they're going to have a huge bounce back year. Their rotation is just very young. Matt Strahm, Eric Lauer, Chris Paddock, Joey Lucchesi. These guys are all... I don't have their official numbers, but they're all under 26, I'd assume. No older than 26. Most of this team. Besides, they made some big moves. Let's not forget that. They have Hosmer, Machado. They signed Ian Kinsler. Some vets there on the offensive side. Rotation and bullpen young. Which is not a bad thing. They're letting in, people were talking earlier, they're going to have some of these guys go back to the minors. I actually applaud them for sticking with these guys and letting them go out there day one and work through the struggles. I think that's a great way to go about it. And all they do is build confidence, playing at the big level. This isn't like football where, you're throwing out, say, like a rookie quarterback with, on a team that was just, like the Cleveland Browns, years ago, throwing out a rookie quarterback when they were 1-16 or 1-15 the year before. He's going to get killed, and you're going to ruin his career. Baseball, it's such a long season. There's so many games. It's a real learning process, learning curve. So I think the Padres pitching is going to be... They're going to struggle early, but I'm expecting to see some real progress and maturity out of them by the All-Star break and going the rest of the way. This could be a rotation that's very dangerous in a year or two. But like I said, moving off the rotation, we got to go look back at the lineup. These guys get a hit. That's a fact. Kinsler, Machado, Hosmer, Will Myers. They just kept up. No surprise. Fernando Tatis Jr. They are going with him. They kept him on the opening day roster. I believe they have optioned Luis Urias. So that was a surprise by everyone for sure. So we'll see what Tatis does. Like another example, going with a young guy. I think he's only 20 years old. With a young option, bringing him up, let him grow as the season goes on. They're going to let him learn in the big league, throwing him right into the fire. And I think that's great because they know they're a couple years away. They know they really, they're signing, they just signed Hosmer, I think, for 4 years last season. Machado just got a massive deal. I have no idea what Kinsler's making. I'm sure it's not very long term. He's probably just a stopgap until they find, I'm sure they have a guy in the minors that's ready to come up here, but probably a year away. So I think this would be a huge turnaround season for him. Depending on how quickly the rotation can come up to speed, which I don't expect it to be too long. They're going to be struggling early, which, from a team that wasn't very good last year, it's expected. I know there's a lot of hype on them because of the Machado deal and all that, but we need to have patience with them. But I think they're going to be, right around a 500 team, maybe an 85-win team. That's probably a bit ambitious, but I think they're going to be right there with the Rockies. I think the Rockies are probably 80-85. So I'd say the Rockies and Padres would probably be right around tied. When all said and done, one of them might sneak beyond. Rockies have more potential to be closer to a 90-win team, just as their lineup is ridiculous. I'm going to jump into them now, actually, because once again, I have the Dodgers coming out of this division, but I'll get into them in a minute. But the Rockies, Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado. Arenado's got a ridiculous contract. They signed Daniel Murphy, unbelievable signing. Trevor Story, Ian Desmond, Chris Iannetta, who's a sneaky good hitting catcher. I don't think he gets as much notoriety as other guys do, but he's a sneaky guy for DFS. He's really cheap most times, and if he's gonna be playing half his games at Coors Field, watch out for him. He can knock it out of the park. He's got some pop. But Arenado's story, these guys, Blackmon, these guys are going to put up insane numbers. They're going to be expensive DFS. They're all going to be rostered in year-long fantasy, obviously. With the advantage of playing in Coors Field half the season, like Daniel Murphy, these numbers are going to be massive for these guys. For Blackmon, Arenado, as they always are for Story, what they have been the last couple of years. But definitely keep an eye on Murphy. I know he killed it the last 2 years with the Nationals, but expect those numbers to even take an uptick here in Coors Field. Saying that, the rotation's pretty good, but it's actually really solid. But the Coors Field thing, air's thin up there, the ball flies out, travels real easily. But Kyle Freeland, Juan Marquez, Tyler Anderson, John Gray, Chad Bettis, and John Gray. They're at the back of the rotation, which I think is more or less where they should be. They have moments, but Gray's had more moments than Bettis has. Bettis has gotten torn up at times, pretty bad. Gray put up pretty solid numbers last year. Even that, Coors Field, which is nice. He'll be a cheaper option to look at. I don't think he's available. I don't know what his percentage owned is in season-long fantasy, but take a look at him. I'm sure he'll come available sometime. But Marquez and Freeland, two top guys, two real solid guys at the top of your rotation. They're going to do the job. They're going to go in there every game and absolutely let it fly. And as long as they're accurate and they don't get unlucky basically playing that thin air, they should have really nice seasons. You got Wade Davis to close. He's an absolute stud to come in the ninth. 8-9, you can come in, you can throw close 2 innings. You can close 2 innings, no problem. He's probably one of the best in the game. The Rockies, they're going to compete. They're going to be, it'll be tight between them and the Dodgers, I think, most of the year. The Padres will come out, they'll come up late. People will be talking about them and hyping them up, but they're not going to be there all season long. The Rockies, 93, right around with about 85 to 90, I'd say. Padres on the lower end, probably more around 80. About capping 85. Rockies 85 to 90, I'd say. And the Dodgers I have coming in, winning the division, finishing about 98 wins. I don't think it's going to be too close. They're going to win. They should have this locked up a couple weeks before the season's over, in my opinion. Starting rotation, they're a little banged up right now. They got Wade Buehler and Kershaw. They're not far away. They're going to be back here pretty soon, but they're not going to be with the team to start. So that leaves you with like Rich Hill, Hyunjin Ryu, Kenta Maeda, Ross Stripling. Fine. These guys have been here for the last couple of years. They've won with these guys. They have all the confidence in the world. Then you have Kenley Jansen coming in the ninth. I mean, that's it. Unbelievable. They'll be fine. Then once these two guys get back, I mean, you're talking about a pretty dominant. I mean, Buehler had a great year last year. He could definitely become, one of the next top dominant guys. No question. We'll just see how he is when he gets back from injury. The lineup. Look at, Jock Peterson, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger. He added A.J. Pollock, Max Muncy, who had a great year last year. Out of nowhere, had an unbelievable, I think it was rookie season. I don't think Muncy's going to do, have as big of a season as he did last year. After you have a year like that, you break out of nowhere. It's extremely hard to repeat. So I think he's going to have a little more of a down year. Still put up nice, solid numbers, but I wouldn't expect the same as last year or anything better. I'd expect a little less. A.J. Pollock could be a great signing for him. The only issue is the guy can't stay healthy. So if he could stay on the field, that's a steal of a signing for them. He immediately replaces Yasiel Puig. He's not a headache like Puig was. Puig was a nightmare to deal with. Cody Bellinger, young. Jock Peterson, young. Corey, Justin Turner has been solid for them for years. This same core of a team that was just in the World Series. Don't really know how to not take them to win the division again when everyone has gotten worse, except for the Padres, who weren't even in contention last year. Yeah, the Rockies are there, but as nice as it is to have, they have a nice starting rotation, which they always haven't had in the best. In a 5-game series, 7-game series, if it comes down to that in the playoffs, if they were to meet, I'm taking the Dodgers probably 9 times out of 10 to beat the Rockies. I'm a big Rocky. I really like the guys in the Rockies, but I just think the experience and especially the experience in the rotation, once Kershaw gets back and just like the leadership, Rich Hill, Maeda, who's been there a while, these guys have just been there for so long together that the chemistry and everything and the trust is there, and that's how that's how I see it going down. I think they're to have, like I said, about 98 wins, and I don't think they're going to go over 100, just because the division's better. So they're not going to, they didn't do that last year, I'm pretty sure. So 95 to 98 wins, they're going to take the division, and that's how I see it going. So NL West closing up this Part 3 breakdown. Top to bottom, we're going Dodgers, Rockies, Padres, Diamondbacks, Giants. That's how I see it going down. It's going to be another. Besides, really, I think the Giants are going to have a really struggling year. I think it's going to be a really fun division to watch. Just as, I do, not so much with the AL West, just because of the damn Astros are going to run away with this fucking thing again. But, really looking forward to some good baseball this year, and I want to see what the Angels can do. I think the Angels are going to be improved. I think the Padres the Padres are much improved, but I think they can make a bit of a run. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. I'll be back tomorrow with some DFS plays, stuff like that, pitching matchups, who I think who's to watch. Some guys from season-long fantasy that I think might not have a great matchup. Stuff like that. It won't be as long as these breakdowns have been. I'm going to try and keep them to about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, or a half hour max, just because I don't want to take up all you guys' time. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm out. Yo, what's going on, everybody? D-Row here, the whole lot of nothing. Doing part 3 of the divisional, MLB divisional breakdown. Already done the AL NL East, AL NL Central. Today we're doing the AL NL West. Okay, so good job. I was planning on doing this morning, get this up as early as possible, but never set my alarm early, so only had my work alarm go off this morning. So there was no time, but doing it now, so we're going to bust it out real quick. So now, everything starts tomorrow, so let's just break down some teams, see if there's anyone of value, DFS, season-long fantasy, you guys are looking to bet, division winners, stuff like that. We're going to jump right in here. We're going to start with the AL West. I think I've done the AL first. The first two parts, so we're going to stick with it. Looking right now to the team that's going to finish last in the division. Tough, very tough call. It's a pretty even division. Probably going to... could be a bit of a curveball. I'm going to take the A's. I think they're going to win about 80 games. They're not going to have the year they did last year. If you look historically over the last, 10 years, 15 years, every time the A's have a really good year, make a run for the playoffs, or, a push where they're competing, the next year they never have a good bounce back year. They never repeat a good performance. It's usually another year or two before they can get the right pieces back together to make another push. So their rotation pretty similar to last year, like near the end. Mike Fiers, Brett Anderson, Daniel Mengden, Marco Estrada. They're all middle of the road pitchers. They all had pretty good years last year, which obviously